Hey guys, what's up? I'm Steven, and this is my video series on practical JavaScript where we walk through the algorithm challenges at freecodecamp.com. In this video, I'm going to show you 2 ways on how to check if a word is a palindrome or not. So let's just jump right into it. I've got my add-in editor open right here, and today the file is 3_palindrome.js, and I've already gone ahead and embedded that in my HTML file on here, right here on line 11. And then, of course, I've got my Chrome browser open. I'm going to go ahead and open the JavaScript console so that we can see exactly what's going on here in the browser. Okay, so we don't have much time. I want to keep this video under 15 minutes. The first solution I want to show you is using recursion. And I showed you an example of recursion in the last video when we factorialized the number. And it can be a difficult concept to grasp, so let's just do it again, solving another problem. So I'm going to call this function palindrome. Okay? And I'm going to give it an argument, one argument string. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and set up our test very quickly here, palindrome. And oh, by the way, a palindrome is any word that is spelled the same forwards as it is backwards. So radar is a palindrome, R-A-D-A-R, R-A-D-A-R. So this should return true. Oops. Let's see, and this one here, see, this should return false. So let's go ahead and write that. Okay, a palindrome. All right, we need to set up a base case so our recursion doesn't, create an infinite loop. So I'm going to say if the string, the length of the string is less than or equal to 1, we're going to return true. Okay. Basically, if we're dealing with 1 letter or 0 characters, we'll just assume that it's a palindrome. Okay. And now I'm going to say else if, all right, string 0. So this means the first character of the string. So in this case R, or in this case H. So a string index 0 is the same as string dot slice -1. I'll show you another example of the slice method, but basically slice -1 grabs the last letter of the string. Unfortunately, I can't use a negative index like this. It's just going to return undefined. But if I use the slice method, I can use -1 to grab the last index. Okay, so basically this line says if the first letter and the last letter are the same, well, this might be a palindrome. So I'm going to go ahead and use the return statement and call the function again. And this time, all right, I'm going to pass in a subset of the string using slice. All right, starting at index 1, which would be A, and I want to get ADA. I don't want to include this R, so I'm going to say 1, -1. So slice is a little funny. The starting value here, okay, it starts at index 1, all right, and -1 is the ending index, but this second value, it means go up to this number, but don't include it. So essentially, it's saying A, D, and A, and that's what we're passing in. All right, and final condition, oh, it wants a semicolon. Always remember that. All right, if the length of the string is greater than 1, and if it doesn't match up, then it's not a palindrome, so return false. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm going to refresh the page. Let's see here, and we should get true and a false, which we do. Great. So that was one solution. All right, and I definitely recommend that you read up on more about the slice. Just play around with it. You can pass it 1 or 2 arguments. So go ahead and experiment what that does. This is a recursive solution, but it doesn't handle all the edge cases. For example, it doesn't really consider capitalization, spacing, or punctuation. So if I type in an example like this, a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. This is a palindrome, but it's not going to pass with this function because I got all this spacing, the periods, and capital letters. So I'm going to go ahead and show you another solution to this problem, and we're going to make it work with any sentence, whatever you pass it. All right, we're going to make a new function here. I'm going to call it palindrome regex. Regex means regular expression, and I'm not going to go over regular expressions in too much detail for this video, but there are a lot of tutorials online. I highly recommend you do several of them. It's one of those things that I don't bother spending a lot of time, mastering. I usually just cheat and just copy other people's regular expressions, but it's definitely helpful to understand the basics because that will, take you a long way. So let's just set up a similar test. All right, console.log palindrome regex. All right, and a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. All right, this should work. All right, it is a palindrome, so that should return true. All right, and I'm just going to set up another one, palindrome regex, and I'm going to say hello world. All right, and this one should return false. Okay, so basically I want to create a string. Okay, I'm going to take the string, set it to itself. I want to remove all of the uppercase letters. Let's make it all lowercase. All right, so 2 lowercase. Done. Now I want to take all of the spacing, punctuation, everything, and just replace it with an empty string. So I want to take a man, a plan, a canal, Panama, and essentially I want to make it look like this. A man, a plan, a canal, Panama. So how can we do that? We could do that with the replace method using a regular expression. So we're going to use some method chaining. All right, and a regular expression looks a little funky. Kind of looks like this. Let me just type it out. I want that. Okay. All right, so basically this regular expression, it says, hey, I want you to capture any character that is not a number or a letter, and this is represented by the \W, capital W. I also want you to capture underscores. An underscore is considered an alphanumeric character in regex, so you need to have this to make it work. And if I didn't include the G, it's only going to match the first occurrence. The G is a flag, and that means global. So it just basically says, hey, capture every space, every punctuation, and every underscore, and replace it with an empty string like that. Okay? So now string str, it's just one long string with no punctuation or spaces, and it's all lowercase letters. And now we're just going to set up a simple condition. So if str is the same, and let's reverse the string. We already know how to do that. All right, split, not reverse, not join. Okay, so if those things are the same, return true, else return false. Okay, I'm going to save that. So when I go back to my console, I should see true and false from the first function, and then again true and false. So save that, Go to the browser. And sure enough, it works. Okay, so we got true, false, and true, false. So go ahead and play around with this. I definitely recommend that you read more about the slice method, and this is very useful. And also play around with the replace method as well, and take a tutorial or two on regular expressions. Again, it's not something you have to master, in my opinion, but this regular expression should work for all of the free CodeCamp tests. And both of these, well, this one will work with simple words, but this one right here should definitely pass all of the tests on the free CodeCamp challenge. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Do-do-do.